This was a last week pop quiz, the MCQs pop quiz 10. You can ask your doubts if you have. Question number 1. If you don't have a doubt, I will just mention the right answer. In case if you have a doubt, I will give an explanation for that as well. Question number 1, any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No. So the correct answer for this one is C. Moving on to the next question. Question number 2, any doubt? If you have a doubt, I'll give an explanation. If no doubt, just I will let you know the correct answer for this, and I'll move on to the next one. Question 2, any doubt?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Okay. In question 2, which diagram shows the direction of movement of ions and electrons in electrolysis of the molten sodium chloride? So in a molten sodium chloride, what are the ions we have? We have a sodium ion and we have a chloride ion. And we have a power supply. If we have an anode or a cathode, so what actually happens, like example, if we connect in this manner, this is a positive terminal of the battery, this is a negative terminal. So from negative terminal of the battery, the electrons will move out and they will stop here. So majority of the electrons will be here. So this will be refers to cathode. And the electrons are attracted from the other electrode as the electron will move towards a positive terminal. So this will have majority of the positive ion, and what it will be? It will be anode. So the positive ions, what will happen to the positive ions? The positive ions should be attracted towards the cathode and the negative ions should be attracted towards anode. That is one thing. And the second thing is the electron should move towards the cathode and electrons should move out from anode. So let's check which is the right, which could be the right option. If we check option A. In option A, if this is a cathode and this is an anode, so sodium is moving towards cathode and chlorine is moving towards anode. So that's correct because sodium is a positive, so it should move towards cathode, and chlorine is negative, so it should move towards anode. And what about the movement of electrons? So movement of electron is towards the cathode from a power supply, and it is removed from anode towards the power supply. That's how the electron moves. So this is also correct that electrons are going out from anode and electrons are moving towards cathode. That's why A will be the right answer.
Okay, sir.
What about B, C, or D? I'll tell why it is wrong or what is a mistake in B. In B, sodium is a positive ion and it is attracted towards anode. That is wrong because positive ions are attracted towards cathode. Positive ions cannot be attracted towards anode. What about C? The mistake in C, the sodium ions are attracted towards anode. Again, there's a mistake. So it cannot, because the positive ion should be attracted towards cathode, not towards anode. That's also a mistake. Here, what is the mistake in D? The positive ions are attracted towards cathode, negative ions are attracted towards anode. And what about the movement of electron? The movement of electron is wrong because from the power supply, electron move towards the cathode, but it's showing that electrons are moving away from cathode. So that's a mistake. And same thing from a power electrons move from anode towards the power supply, but it is given other way around. So that is a mistake as well. So A will be the valid answer or a right answer. Question 1 also, one of the student is having a doubt, so I'll explain that as well. What is the definition of a concentration? Concentration means how many particles are there or how many moles are there in 1 dm cube of a solution. We call that as a concentration. Number of the moles present in 1 dm cube of a solution. Look, the question is which statements about the product of electrolysis using the inert electrode are correct. Let's check the first statement. When a molten lead-2 bromide is electrolyzed, a bromine is formed at cathode. So if we have a molten lead-2 bromide, an inert electrode means the electrodes will not react. So positive and the negative, from the negative terminal, electrons will move out. So majority of electrons here and most of the positive charges here. Now, it's a lead to bromide. So what are the ions present? It contains a lead ion and it contains a bromide ion. What is the difference between a molten solution and aqueous? Molten means it does not contain water. Aqueous means it contains a water. So they mention here molten, it means it does not have any water. So what will happen? The lead is attracted. This is a cathode and this is an anode. So lead is positive ion, which is attracted towards the cathode, and the bromine is a negative ion, which is attracted towards anode. So the bromine is not formed at an cathode, it is formed at anode, the bromide ion. So that the mistake here, this is a wrong statement that the bromide ion is formed at cathode. It cannot, because the negative ions are attracted towards anode and the positive ions are attracted towards cathode. So in this case, statement 1 is wrong. So any option with 1 is wrong. So this cannot be right. This cannot be right. Let's check option 2. When a dilute sulfuric acid is electrolyzed, oxygen is formed. So how we can identify if we have the electrodes are there? If we have electrodes are there, so we have this is a battery, positive and the negative terminal of the battery. Electrons will move out from negative terminal and towards the cathode. So this is cathode. And electrons are removed from the anode. So majority of the positive ions are there at anode. And it's a sulfuric acid. So what are the ions present in a sulfuric acid? It contains a hydrogen ion. It contains a hydroxide ion. It contains hydrogen ion and it also contains a sulfate ion. Because it's how we identify the ions which are present. Because they mention here a dilute sulfuric acid. Dilute solutions or concentrated solutions are always aqueous. And it's a dilute solution. Dilute solution means less salt or less acid and more water is there. So for positive ion, what will happen? The positive ion is hydrogen, so that will move towards cathode. So we'll get a hydrogen gas at cathode. And here hydroxide, it's a dilute solution, so hydroxide is more. Whenever hydroxide ions are moving towards the electrode, the anode, because this is the anode, it will give oxygen plus 2 water molecule plus 4E. So means oxygen gas will be there at anode. So when a dilute sulfuric acid is electrolyzed, oxygen is formed at anode. So it means this is a right statement. So the option 2 is correct. What about 3? So statement 2 is correct. What about statement 3? When concentrated aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed, sodium is formed. So again, if we work out so this is an electrolytic cell and we connect with a battery. Electrons will move out, so majority of the electrons will be here. And most of the positive ions. Now, the solution is a concentrated sodium chloride. So it contains a sodium ion, it contains chloride ion, it contains hydrogen ion and the hydroxide ion. First, the positive ion, the less reactive will move. So hydrogen is less reactive. So hydrogen will move towards the cathode. So at cathode, hydrogen will move. And it's a concentrated means more chlorine and less hydroxide. So the chloride ion will move towards anode. So they mention here when a concentrated aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed, sodium is formed at cathode, which is wrong. Sodium is not formed at cathode, hydrogen is formed at cathode. So means statement 3 is incorrect. So any option with 3 is wrong. So means this is also wrong. This is wrong. So we are left with only option C as a right answer, but I will explain option 4 as well. Like what is the meaning? When a concentrated hydrochloric acid is electrolyzed, chlorine is formed at anode. So if we use a concentrated hydrochloric acid, so we have positive and the negative ion. The electrons will move out from cathode, so majority of the electrons will be here, and electrons are removed from anode, so majority of the positive ions here. Now, it's a hydrochloric acid concentrated, so contain a hydrogen ion, chloride ion, and acids and alkalis are aqueous, so it also contains water. And it's a concentrated or a dilute solution, means the water is there. Amount will be different. In a concentrated, we have more salt and less water. So first the hydrogen will move to, hydrogen is a positive ion. So any of the hydrogen can move towards the cathode, and the hydroxide and the chloride, the ion which is more, the chloride ions are more, so chloride ions are formed at anode. So when a concentrated hydrochloric acid is electrolyzed, a chlorine is formed at anode, so option 4 is correct. So that's why C will be the right answer. Is it clear, this one? Moving on to the next question. Question 3, any doubt? If you don't have a doubt, I'll just let you know the answer. Otherwise, I'll give an explanation. Question 3, any doubt?
No, sir.
No doubt. The correct answer for this one is C. Question 4, any doubt? Question 4. No doubt in question 4. The correct answer for this one is also C. Question 5. Question 4, I'll explain. During electrolysis of a sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, hydrogen is collected at cathode. So what should be the equation? Because if we are doing a electrolysis of a dilute sulfuric acid, which contain a hydrogen ion and the hydroxide ion, and sulfuric acid means hydrogen ion and the sulfate ion. This is a cathode, the electrons will move and electrons remove. So this is a more positive ion and this negative. For hydrogen will move towards the cathode. When one hydrogen ion will move there, it will take one electron, it will form hydrogen atom. But hydrogen is a non-metal which exists as a molecule. So when two hydrogen ions are there, they will take two electrons and it will form a hydrogen gas. So it's a gain of electron. The hydrogen ion gains electron. It's also a reduction. That's why C will be the right answer. D can be correct if the same equation can be written if I move the electron other side. So I can also write 2 hydrogen ion become H2 minus 2E. Because if I move to other side, plus become minus, positive sign changes to negative, then this will be the right equation as well. So hydrogen ions, the positive ions, gain electron to form a molecule. That's why C was the right answer. Question 5, any doubt? Question 5. The correct answer for question 5 is A. If anyone need explanation, I'll explain as well. Otherwise, if you don't have a doubt, I'll just mention the correct answer. Question 6, any doubt? Question 6, the correct answer is A as well. Question 7, any doubt? Question 7. The correct answer for this one is D. Question 8, any doubt? Question 8. The correct answer for this one is A. Question 9, any doubt? No doubt. The correct answer for this one is also A. Question 10, any doubt? Question 10, any doubt? The correct answer for this one is C. Question 11. Any doubt in question 11? The correct answer for this one is D as well. Question 12, any doubt? Question 12. The correct answer for this one is A. Okay, question 12, I'll explain. Look, in question 12, the electricity is passed through and concentrated sodium, aqueous sodium chloride. So if it is a concentrated aqueous sodium chloride, so what are the ions present? It contains a sodium ion, it contains a chloride ion, it contains a hydrogen ion and the hydroxide ion. First, the positive ion, what will happen? We check the reactivity, the less reactive will move. So hydrogen is less reactive, so hydrogen will move towards cathode. So at cathode on a negative electrode, it will form a hydrogen. Because when two hydrogen ions are there, they will take two electrons to form a hydrogen gas and we'll observe bubbles. For negative ion, we check the amount. It's a concentrated. Concentrated means more salt, less hydroxide. So more Cl, less OH. So the Cl ion will move towards the positive electrode. And when chloride ion move towards the positive electrode, when one chloride ion is there, it will lose one electron, form a chlorine atom. When two chloride ions, they will lose two electrons, form a chlorine gas. This equation can also be written: two chloride ion form a chlorine gas and by loss of two electrons. What is the test for the gas formed at positive electrodes? So as I mentioned, there are certain gases you have to learn the test: oxygen, hydrogen, chlorine, ammonia, carbon dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. So these are the gases you have to learn. Because the concept, so what is the test for the gas? So for a chlorine gas bleaches a litmus paper. If you test with a litmus, it will bleach. So bleach the damn litmus paper. So that's why A will be the right answer. If it was a hydrogen, then B will be the right answer because hydrogen pops out with a lighted flame. If it was an oxygen, then it will glow the relight the glowing flame. And turning a damp red litmus paper blue, if it was ammonia, then this will be the answer. So this is a test for the chlorine, and that's why A will be the right answer. So you have to learn the test for these gases. Yes, test for the hydroxide means like oxygen, because if the hydroxide was moving there, then hydroxide gives off oxygen, and then you will write the test for oxygen. And test for oxygen is it relight the glowing splint. So this was the last week pop quiz, the pop quiz 10.